Quick question. When you read this sentence, she walked into a room full of red roses. Do you actually see roses? I mean, vividly, like it's a photograph or a movie playing out in your mind? Or do you just know there are roses? You know, you understand that sentence, you understand the scene it depicts, but you don't get any visual image at all attached to it. Now here's the thing a lot of writers don't realize. It is completely normal to have both of those experiences. And readers are all different. They're all going to fall in a different place somewhere along that spectrum. I'm Holly Schindler, an award-winning author as well as freelance editor, writing coach, and writing instructor. And in this video, I'm going to address this visual spectrum of reading. I'm going to talk about why it's important for writers to understand it. And I'm going to show you a little bit about how you can write for readers all along this spectrum without alienating anyone. Okay, so to begin with, there is a spectrum of mental imagery that your readers are able to conjure up in their minds as they're reading your book, right? You depict something visually, your readers are all going to conjure that image up in their minds in a different way. So at one end of the spectrum, we've got something called hyperphantasia. Now these readers are going to see your book as though it is in fact a movie playing out in their minds. They are going to see every single detail. Now, this imagery is so vivid and so detailed, it is virtually indistinguishable from the things that person sees in the real world. And at the other end of the spectrum, we've got aphantasia. And these are the readers that are going to see absolutely no mental picture at all. They are going to be able to absolutely understand your book, but they are going to see no mental images at all. Now, these are actually pretty new terms. You know, this is something we're really just beginning to learn about. And when I first came across this terminology, my first thought was, why do I even need to know about aphantasia at all? People who have aphantasia surely wouldn't even be readers at all, right? Then I started digging into my own reading process. I got a few books off the shelf and started digging for some descriptive passages and started really analyzing how much I was seeing myself. Honestly, it wasn't very much. I had very few mental images, and most of them were actually pretty hazy. This was actually pretty shocking to me. You know, I think the default assumption that most writers have is that the more visual a person is, the more likely they're going to be a really avid reader. And obviously that's not true of me at all, right? I mean, I've been a reader my entire life and loved books so much I actually became a writer. But when I dug into it, I found out I'm far closer to the aphantasia side of this visual spectrum, not the hyperphantasia side. Is this unusual? Turns out it's really not. Readers who are closer to that aphantasia side of the spectrum are still connecting to the book, but what are they connecting to? Well, they're connecting to relationships, you know, psychology, emotional patterns, anything in the emotional architecture of your book. So there's actually a case to be made that those readers who seem to be experiencing less might be connecting to your book on a deeper level, right? Those readers on the aphantasia end of the spectrum might be bypassing the surface level just appearance of what's going on in your book and connecting to the deeper aspects of your book. They're connecting to your book on a far deeper emotional level. So this is all interesting, but it also leaves writers with a bit of a problem, right? I mean, if I spend pages on long, flowery, descriptive passages, I'm going to alienate the reader who is more conceptual. But if I don't have any visual description at all, I'm going to lose all of those readers on the hyperphantasia end of the visual spectrum. So what's a writer to do? Try this. Try making sure that every visual detail reveals something psychologically about your character. Don't just describe what something looks like. Describe what it means. Okay, try this one. Let's say we've got a main character who goes everywhere in a pair of these really ill-fitting black pumps. I mean, they are clearly a size or a size and a half too small, right? Her toes stick out of the top. You can see from the side they're digging into her heels. You know, every single time she sits down, she kind of pulls her her heel out of the back of the pump to give herself some relief. And for some reason, she has worn these things like crazy. Like, you can tell she's taken shoe polish or maybe even a marker to try to hide the scuff marks on these things. Maybe there's even some evidence that they've been resold a time or two, and they clearly do not fit her right. You know, you can also reveal that this girl is really smart and from maybe, say, like a blue-collar background. And she attended some sort of really, you know, snooty private school growing up on scholarship. And she learned there the importance of appearances and how people are defined by appearances. And as she's starting out in her career, these shoes are the only thing that make her feel like she's on the right track. They're the only thing that give her the confidence to go to meetings and show people what she actually can do. Now, the interesting thing there is that satisfies readers everywhere on this visual imagery spectrum, right? You get enough visual detail with the pumps that you're satisfying the visual reader, but you're also getting enough psychologically revealing information that you are satisfying your conceptual readers. And you're doing all of this with the same thing. You're doing all of this with her black pumps. So think of it this way. You don't want your readers just to see the detail in your books. You want them to feel the detail. This visual spectrum is just one of the topics I cover in my book, Narrative Transportation, The Science of Writing Immersive Fiction. It's all about pulling readers deeply into that fictional world of yours, no matter what kind of reader they are. Got a link to it below. All right, guys, I'll catch you in the next video. In the meantime, go write something.